He despised my lack of self-respect. He laughed at me, saying I was like an obedient dog at his feet. I didn't give a damn. I chased him for 3 years. I wanted to be part of his family. Because his mother, she looked exactly like my dead mom. Chapter 1. Before Harrison and I could walk down the aisle, 2 bombs dropped on his family. First, Cordelia wanted a divorce from Richard. Harrison was just like his father, a serial cheater. Richard's latest mistress, a girl barely 20, had the audacity to march up to Cordelia and provoke her. Cordelia had a fiery temper. She didn't hesitate. She slapped the girl across the face, then stormed straight into the company headquarters, demanding a divorce. The scandal exploded instantly. Everyone knew. Second, Harrison's little canary flew the coop. Her name was April. Beautiful, innocent, stubborn. When she found out our wedding date was set, she was heartbroken. She packed her bags and fled to Haicheng. Harrison, naturally, chased after her. He was obsessed with her. Before he left, he demanded, in an annoyed tone, that I go smooth things over with his parent. They're old enough to know better. Doesn't my mom know how embarrassing she's being? Harrison frowned. It's normal for men to play the field. Dad told me he'd never father a child out of wedlock. Isn't that enough? I didn't say a word. I just quietly folded his shirts and packed his suitcase. Suddenly, Harrison wrapped his arms around me from behind, resting his chin on my shoulder. His voice dropped, dripping with false warmth. Reese, why are you always so good? So obedient? You're not like the others. My hands paused midair. The scent of him invaded my senses. A thick, overpowering cologne that made my throat tighten. His lips brushed against my ear. His words were sticky, damp, and suffocating. I promise, as soon as I get back, we'll get married. I'll give you whatever you want. I turned and held his hand, forcing a tone of eager devotion into my voice. Okay, I want to be a family with you. I had told him countless lies over the years, but that one? That was the only truth. Chapter 2. After Harrison left, I drove straight to a familiar villa. It was where Cordelia lived now. I never liked calling her Mrs. Dong. In the quiet of my heart, she was always just Cordelia. Cordelia was beautiful. Her features were dignified, regal. Time had left its marks, but they couldn't obscure her legendary elegance. Years ago, Richard had fallen in love with that face at first sight. He had insisted on marrying her, but her temper didn't match her appearance at all. She was a powder keg, exploding at the slightest spark. Our social circle called her mean, unreasonable, bad-tempered, vain, selfish. They weren't wrong, but I didn't care. Cordelia had been sunbathing when she opened the door. The sunlight in the backyard was bright and golden. She glanced at me lazily. You're here. She didn't look haggard. I finally let out a breath. I set down the desserts I had waited in line for. My voice was soft with concern. Mom, are you okay? Is the divorce going smoothly? Do you need my help? What can you do? Kids shouldn't meddle in adult business. She rolled her eyes. That old bastard. Watch me destroy him. I didn't care about Richard, that old bastard. I only cared about Cordelia. Winter was coming. Cordelia had poor circulation. Her limbs were often cold. Let me stay here and take care of you for a few days, Mom. I made my voice sound obedient. Sweet. I'll cook for you. You've lost weight recently. I'm on a diet. What do you know? Cordelia's eyes widened. Her manicured finger reached out and poked my forehead. Always running over here. You're getting married soon. Your groom is out playing around, and you're not even anxious. It was a light touch. It didn't hurt. Instead, a warmth spread from her fingertip. It anchored me. A sudden, heavy desire washed over me. I wanted to lean into her, to curl up in her arms and sleep without a care in the world, to let my defenses drop, to feel safe. I smiled at her, my eyes curving into crescent. I felt happy. Harrison running off with someone? What did that have to do with me? It was better if he stayed far away. Don't disturb me. Don't disturb my time with Mom. I didn't care about him. He could die out there for all I cared. But Harrison just happened to be Cordelia's biological son. Even if their relationship was lukewarm, they were connected by blood. That fact often made me grind my teeth in jealousy. I was about to say my usual line, Harrison isn't bad, just a bit playful, when Cordelia sighed lightly. Reese, she said, I'm leaving. My expression froze. I haven't had feelings for Richard for a long time. I wanted a divorce years ago, but he wouldn't let me, said it would affect the company. She continued, now that this scandal has blown up, I can finally leave. Cordelia looked relaxed, lighter than I had ever seen her. There's this foreign guy pursuing me. He's actually quite easy on the eyes. We agreed to go abroad for a trip. Maybe I'll get married again when I come back. My lips parted slightly. I wanted to ask something, but in the end, I couldn't ask anything. I wasn't her biological daughter. I had no standing, but I felt a sense of relief. In my eyes, Cordelia's happiness was more important than anything. Chapter 3. Now, she had finally obtained the freedom she had dreamed of for so long. I would give her my sincerest blessings. I looked her in the eye, my voice steady and serious. Whoever you think is good, Mom, that's who is good. Cordelia looked at me quietly. The fine lines at the corners of her eyes crinkled like delicate vines. Then she smiled. It was a radiant smile, instantly erasing the years of bitterness from her face. Do you think I'm blind just because I'm old? She asked. Reese, are you an idiot? Just because I'm leaving doesn't mean I stop being your mother. Cordelia paused. Her expression softened. A look so rare, so tender, it made my chest ache. Baby, she said, come with me. The first time I met Harrison, it was at a charity gala. I was there as a student volunteer. He pulled up in a flashy supercar, a streak of silver dyed in his hair. Handsome, arrogant, untouchable. I hit on him. From that moment on, I chased him relentlessly. Everyone thought it was love at first sight, or that I was just another gold digger chasing his family's power and wealth. They were wrong. That night, Harrison was attending in his mother's place. Cordelia's photo was displayed high above the venue. I froze. My breath hitched in my throat. I stared at that photo, disbelieving, blank, greedy, like a starving man looking at a feast he couldn't touch. Cordelia, she was the spitting image of my biological mother, but their auras were worlds apart. In my memories, my mother Irene was gentle, elegant, soft-spoken. She always wore plain, simple clothes. Cordelia was flamboyant, bright, aggressive, draped in luxury and arrogance. Irene had no siblings, neither did Cordelia. I had secretly collected samples, ran the DNA test between me, Cordelia, and Harrison. Nothing. We were strangers, biologically unrelated. But in this world, can two people really look exactly the same and have no connection? I didn't know. If Irene hadn't been frozen in time at 30 years old, would she look like Cordelia now? If Irene hadn't lived in that suffocating, dark environment, if she had been free, would she have been like Cordelia? Reckless, happy, cursing freely and laughing loudly? I didn't know that either. Maybe souls really do split in two. I had to believe that I had found the other half of my mother. But I was just a broke student. No matter how good my grades were, no matter how bright my future looked, I had no roots in City A. The only weapon I had was myself. I couldn't get close to Cordelia. She was high above in the cloud, but it didn't matter. I could get close to Harrison. He was a playboy, flighty, obsessed with beauty, and I happened to have an outstanding face, superb acting skills, and a decent brain. I showered him with care. I played the role of the devoted lover. I didn't care how many women he played with outside. After graduation, I used every connection I made, every resource I could borrow, and built my team. Today, Lumina is the new rising star in the business world. I made myself qualified to sit at the table with the Dong group. I stopped being just a +1 he played with. I climbed to a height where he had to look me in the eye. Harrison proposed. That day, I finally got what I wanted. I called Cordelia Mom for the first time. At first, Cordelia was guarded. Why are you sucking up to me? Even if you marry him, I'm not living with you. Later, her attitude softened. She looked at me with frustration, like I was wasting my potential. What do you see in Harrison? A girl like you could match with anyone. Why do you have to be stuck with that piece of trash? And now, she was looking at me, offering me the ultimate escape. Baby, come with me. Chapter 4. The moment the visas were stamped, Cordelia and I were on the first flight out. Cordelia must have had some serious leverage on Richard. He folded faster than a cheap lawn chair. She moved like a hurricane. Pack cleared out. Gone. Yesterday, a video surfaced online. It showed Harrison and April dancing on a beach. A romantic getaway. They shared a sweet, passionate kiss. His scandal was trending at #1. Again, Harrison must have seen it. He finally pulled himself out of his lover's arms long enough to send me a text. Reese, the wedding is still on. I'll be back in time. I didn't reply. I had been so busy helping Cordelia split her assets that I forgot this man was even in my contact. I looked at the phone. Cordelia didn't care about her husband. She didn't care about her son. She had left them both behind without a backward glance. So why should I care? I tapped the screen. Block. Delete. I blocked his friends too, just to be thorough. What wedding? Cordelia wasn't going to be there. So neither was I. The plane ride was bumpy, but inside, I felt nothing but a serene, quiet happiness. As long as I was by Cordelia's side, I would go anywhere. The moment we landed, someone was already rushing toward us. A handsome man with blonde hair and blue eyes was holding a giant sign. His face lit up the second he saw us. He grabbed our luggage, flashing a smile so wide it was blinding. His Chinese was fluent, but dramatically exaggerated. My sweet Cordelia, I have been counting the days and night, waiting for you. Cordelia took off her sunglasses. She stood tall, elegant, and unbothered, letting him kiss her on the cheek. I had done my research on this father-son duo before we left. Raphael, his late wife, was Chinese. She passed away from an illness 13 years ago. He had a son named Adrian. 5 years ago, Raphael fell in love with Cordelia at first sight, but he was a gentleman. When he found out she was married, he never crossed the line. He just wrote letters, sent gifts. He was devoted. He had waited for her for 5 years. I could see that Cordelia liked him. Her eyes were smiling. It was the same look she used to give Richard years ago. That was just who Cordelia was. When she loved, she held nothing back. She burned hot and bright. Even if she was older now, even if she had been hurt, she was brave enough to dive headfirst into love again. Is this the baby Reese you told me about? Raphael turned his gaze to me, gasping in exaggerated wonder. So cute. 1,000,000 times cuter than Adrian. Cordelia, can we have a living doll like this too? Cordelia glared at him. She reached out and pinched his arm hard. Adrian is standing right there. Stop talking nonsense. Behind Raphael, a young man stepped forward. He was physically perfect. Black hair, inherited from his mother. Deep, sculpted features, and a pair of blue eyes that were flawless, like the finest topaz. He nodded politely at Cordelia. Miss Cordelia, long time no see. Then, he extended a hand toward me. Miss Reese. Hello. Chapter 5. I paused for a few seconds. The gears in my mind spun. If my calculations were correct, Cordelia was going to marry Raphael. That meant Adrian would be her new son. Without Harrison connecting us, Cordelia and I were just familiar strangers. Even if she accepted me now, things could change. People change. I wanted to stay by Cordelia's side legitimately. I wanted to call her mom for the rest of my life. I couldn't accept any variables. I needed a real, unbreakable connection. A legal tie that couldn't be severed. I needed to be written on the same family tree. I needed to marry Adrian. What kind of girls did Adrian like? How could I win him over? The thoughts flashed through my mind in a split second. I flashed a perfect, charming smile, my eyes crinkling at the corners, and extended my hand toward him. Hello, Mr. Casito. You can call me Reese. He stared at me quietly awkwardly for a few seconds. Then, he smiled. It was like watching ice melt in spring water. He reached out. His hand landed on the top of my head. It was a slightly awkward, tentative touch, but gentle. Reese, he said softly. You are Cordelia's daughter. You should just call me Adrian. I froze. My mind went blank. Maybe it was because his eyes were so clear, so mild. There was no murkiness, no hidden agenda, no sticky, suffocating lust like Harrison used to have every time he looked at me. Adrian's gaze was open, kind, but with a solid boundary. I frowned slightly. I didn't believe there was a man in this world willing to just be a brother to a beautiful girl. But since he said it, I adapted instantly. Adrian. Whether he liked the title or not didn't matter to me. Guessing people's preferences and winning their favor. I had mastered that game a long time ago. We spent the next 2 weeks traveling with Cordelia. Raphael and Adrian were the perfect tour guide. They carried the bag. They paid the bills. They planned the itinerary and booked the restaurant. Adrian was an incredible photographer. He carried a camera lens worth tens of thousands of dollars on his back, directing Cordelia and me on how to pose. His editing skills were top tier. Every strand of hair under the sunlight was retouched to perfection. He was better than those pro photographers who ran influencer fan sites. Raphael didn't know how to take pictures, but he was the ultimate hype man. He would stand next to Adrian's camera, gasping in exaggerated awe. Oh God, Cordelia, you're